Aaron Rodgers just trashed the new Jets head coach, all the other Jets coaches as well, and basically the entire regime, headlined by head coach Aaron Glenn and general manager Darren Mougey. Aaron Rodgers just absolutely went on a warpath after these guys, after appearing on the Pat McAfee show with the former Jet, talking about his experience with the Jets. Basically, if you are not Jets owner Christopher Johnson, or assistant owner, whatever you want to call him, Christopher Johnson, Woody Johnson's brother, they just got trashed by Aaron Rodgers, who went all in on his former employers, and we are going to break all of this down. This is absolutely insane. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Jets Digest. It's Chris and Matt here, and if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure to be not part of that 69% that's not subscribed. Make sure to join that 31%. We like them way better because they're subscribed to the channel. We're on that grind. Multiple videos every single day for you guys. You do not want to miss out. All that being said, let's jump into it because Aaron Rodgers, former New York Jets quarterback, which still feels weird to say, not just the former part, the whole Aaron Rodgers was on the Jets thing. Well, we all know that went miserably poor. I mean, the first season, we know what happened. In the second season, well, everything that could have went wrong, including Aaron Rodgers completely having a lack of awareness both on and off the field for the New York Jets, and things just went horrifically. Well, Aaron Rodgers, he just told all about his experience with the New York Jets, specifically in regards to leaving the New York Jets, and basically he claimed he was kicked out the door. And just to go into this quote of Aaron Rodgers, this is absolutely wild. He said, listen, that was an interesting 2 years to say the least. I figured that when I flew across the country on my dime there would be a conversation. The confusing thing to me is I went out there, I met with the coach, we started talking, he runs out of the room. I'm like, that's strange. Then he comes back with the GM, and I'm like, all right. So we sit down, and I think we're going to have this long conversation, and 20 seconds in, Aaron Glenn goes, are you sure you want to play football? And I said yes, and he said, we're going in another direction. So Aaron Rodgers just tells what happened from his side, of course. Now, we know one thing based off everything we know about Aaron Glenn. Obviously, he's going to be asked about this. There's no way to not ask Aaron Glenn about this. The literal next time he's in a press conference, it doesn't matter when it is, he's going to get asked because this is a massive story. And, well, knowing everything we know about Aaron Glenn, he is not going to act the way that Aaron Rodgers just acted about this. He's not going to just bear all of it to everyone. He's going to probably be very reserved on his response because, well, he's a head coach. He's in the media. He's a responsible adult, and that is just where we're going to see Aaron Glenn go about this. He's not going to fire back at Aaron Rodgers with, that's not what happened or anything. He's probably just going to dismiss the question after deflecting it because, frankly, that's what you have to do in this situation. Aaron Rodgers made a different decision. He decided to go on his friend's show, absolutely trash the new Jets regime, and though, yes, I'm clearly taking more fire at Aaron Rodgers, Matt, I think that I'm going to choose to say let's believe this right now. I think both sides are wrong. First of all, in my opinion, I do think that if this actually happened, I can understand why Aaron Rodgers wanted to air it out because he'd feel frustrated. But also, Aaron Rodgers himself said he'd rather meet about stuff in person than take phone calls. He tweeted that out 12 years ago. It's still up on his Twitter. He's talked about that even more, that he doesn't even take phone calls, really. So what were they supposed to do? On top of that, if the Jets brass did meet with him the way that Aaron Rodgers said it went down, Aaron Glenn absolutely should not have done this seconds into the conversation.
I mean, of course, it's more professional from Aaron Glenn and Darren Mougey to have a conversation like this with Aaron Rodgers in person. But if you guys are on opposite sides of the country, it doesn't make sense to fly out one of the parties for what sounds like it was a 30-second conversation because, of course, that's a waste of Aaron Rodgers' time. He doesn't need to, even with the extra respect that you're showing him by talking to him in person, he doesn't need that little bit of respect for the time lost. The money, him flying on his dime, who really cares? The dude makes so many millions of dollars. Like, that doesn't matter. But Aaron Glenn, since he's just became a new head coach, without a doubt, he is looking for the most professional way to handle every single situation. And I'm sure this was just the way that he thought was going to be the most professional manner of handling this situation. He knew it was a highly important decision that was being made between him and Darren Mougey about whether Aaron Rodgers was supposed to come back or not. And he wanted to make sure that Aaron Rodgers felt as respected as possible with the way they handled the situation. So it's always more respectful to be done in person. Talks like this should always happen in person. Like, it's like getting fired from a job or breaking up with a girlfriend. You got to do it in person. But it's just,
Wow.
I do think he really should have. This could have been done over a FaceTime call, because if it was really that fast, and we're going to take Aaron Rodgers at his word here, because I don't think Aaron Rodgers is lying about how long it took. Maybe he's exaggerating by a little bit, but I do think this is something that should have been done over a FaceTime call instead of taking the time to fly someone out across the country.
I agree. I mean, as you said, you really, the on my dime thing, no one gives nothing. No one cares that you're saying, oh, it's on my dime. You just, if you're Aaron Rodgers saying, if it's me, if it's you, if it's any normal person who isn't one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time and got paid like it, then yeah, you could be upset about something happening where you got flown out for nothing and you had to pay for it. If you have a private jet like Aaron Rodgers, I don't really empathize at all. I mean, first of all, I can't, but I have no sympathy for someone like that, because it's like, all right, we get it. You have a private jet. Understandably, it costed money. We're not acting like it didn't, but you're fine. It's not like you're going to go broke because of this situation. So look, yes, they decided to go in another direction. I've been kind of back and forth about it, because Aaron Rodgers right now is definitely a better quarterback than Justin Fields is, but that's beside the point. Or not even really beside the point. It kind of is an issue to think about, but the Jets wanted to go in a different direction very clearly. And, well, Aaron Rodgers had more to say as well, saying, I was kind of shocked. Not because I didn't think it was a possibility, but shocked because I just flew across the country, and you could have told me that over the phone. And then went on to say, Aaron Glenn said, we just want to know how you want to be released, the messaging. I said why, and Glenn said that he doesn't want to be up in front of the room saying something and have guys looking back at you. And I said, what does that even mean? Are you assuming that I would be in the back of the room undermining what you're saying? I said, you don't know me, and he responded, you don't know me. What I thought was going to be a couple-hour meeting turned into a 15-minute meeting, and I walked out of there. There was no me pleading. I don't want to be any part of that. It was already a debacle in some cases, and we've seen that. I mean, Aaron Rodgers did not stop there, saying that, well, first of all, Rich Cimini mentioning that clearly he's not a fan of Aaron Glenn, suggesting that Aaron Glenn expressed concern in the meeting that he might want to undermine Aaron Glenn's authority, which, you know, honestly, with what we know about Aaron Rodgers, fair concern by Aaron Glenn, if you ask me. And Rodgers also said there wasn't an ample amount of respect in that meeting, and then said he's not surprised based off what he learned about the Jets over the 2 years that he was here. So saying as well that there was obviously some things that need to get figured out over there with the New York Jets. And parting his message, he said it was strange. Now, we all know that last season with the New York Jets was Murphy's Law. Everything that could have went wrong outside of like every single player getting injured pretty much. And there was a bunch of injuries last season as well. But last year was strange. Aaron Rodgers is right there. It was a strange season for the New York Jets. Firing your head coach after 5 games and you're a game out of the playoffs, or a game out of the first seed in the AFC East. It was a weird season. No one's saying the Jets were the most functional team. The whole Woody Johnson having his kids bring people into the locker room is really weird, and Brick Johnson taking away game balls and stuff like that. Yeah, it was weird. The Jets were weird. They're a strange team at points. Last season, at least. I think I've seen some people upset with Aaron Glenn over this, saying that he's not Bill Parcells yet, and he shouldn't be acting like he's been here for a ton of years. At the same time, a lot of Jets fans saying they're happy that Aaron Rodgers is gone because he's a head case. Look, was this gone about poorly if this is exactly what happened? Yeah, Aaron Glenn and Darren Mougey should not have went about things this way. Is Aaron Rodgers also someone who's a known head case who complains about everything? Yeah, he complained about Jordan Love for 3 years while he was winning MVPs.
Chris, I'm sure that if Aaron Glenn did this over the phone, Aaron Rodgers probably would have complained about that too, because that's what he does in the media. But one thing that you said, it kind of is rubbing me the wrong way a little bit here, is when you talked about how Aaron Glenn asked Aaron Rodgers how he wanted this done and what he wanted the message to be, and Aaron Rodgers said, why would you do that? How about, because that's the respect that you show a veteran and a player of Aaron Rodgers' age in the NFL and his qualifications in the NFL. That's why you allow that player to have some say in the way that the news is broken to the media. There's no way Aaron Rodgers doesn't know that. And he said he was feeling disrespected by the way they handled it. I mean, maybe they should not have flown him out, but everything we've seen from Aaron Glenn, he handles himself with the utmost amount of respect, which is not what you can say with the way that Aaron Rodgers talks about his teammates in the media. So I think that's a completely and utterly ridiculous statement out of Aaron Rodgers. That really, really annoys me. You don't want to hear anyone saying anything like that about the head coach. If he does something where he deserves that, then go ahead and flame him for it. Go ahead and talk about how he was disrespectful. If he actually was disrespectful, that would have been a different story. But the guy going out of his way and being respectful to a fault, which is what happened by flying him out and doing it in person instead of over a FaceTime call or a Zoom call. That's what happened. Aaron Glenn was trying to show him the utmost amount of respect, and Aaron Rodgers telling the media that he felt disrespected it's just ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
I agree. I think also when it comes down to it, there's going to be two sides to every story, no matter what. When two sides part ways in anything, there's going to be two stories. There's never going to be the exact same story. And regardless, in a situation like this, we're not going to hear both sides. We never are. Aaron Glenn's never going to come out and just be like, let me lay it all on the table for you guys. Let me let everyone know about the intricate details of a meeting I had with two other members of the New York Jets at the time. He's not going to do that. As you said, he treats everything with the utmost respect. Even at this point with Aaron Rodgers, the last thing Aaron Glenn's going to do is start disrespecting Aaron Rodgers for multiple reasons. One, it's a terrible look for anyone to decide, all right, well, if you're an NFL head coach and Aaron Rodgers is a guy who's currently not on an NFL team and isn't sure if he's going to play next season, basically saying that he'll only play if he goes to a team that has a legit chance to win a Super Bowl when he has one option in the Steelers and he's acting like he has more, that's already a problem there. Aaron Glenn's not going to turn around and be like, well, actually, this is what happened. Aaron Rodgers was disrespectful because of blah, blah, blah. Aaron Glenn has more important things to worry about than going on Pat McAfee's show. Aaron Glenn is trying to become one of the great head coaches in New York Jets history. And yeah, he hasn't played a game yet. What a terrible thing it would be for him to be like, well, here's how I'm going to start my Jets tenure after the draft, or next time I'm in a meeting or a press conference. I'm just going to tell my side of this story 100% and make it look like Aaron Rodgers is the bad guy here, the way he did that to us. Aaron Glenn's going to deflect this, and he probably should, because if he responds, all he's doing is giving Aaron Rodgers more impact in the Jets locker room, even though at this point he's literally a ghost in there. So it doesn't make sense.
If Aaron Glenn responds to this, then it turns into actually like an internet beef type of thing where he's gonna pretty much validate everything that Aaron Rodgers is saying if he tries to clap back at him. But if Aaron Glenn goes ahead and just brushes it off and says we're moving past that or doesn't talk about it, that's the way he's going to make Aaron Rodgers look worse. And honestly, after what he said about the New York Jets, I'm absolutely on board with him looking worse right now.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to take Aaron Rodgers' side on stuff in general because usually what he says is interesting. The man's got some hot takes on everything ever in his life. But where Aaron Rodgers stands, he's trying to negatively impact the Jets by saying all this. Yes, he's probably upset about this. Yes, he has the right to be upset about this, but he wants to have this impact. We can't act like Aaron Rodgers doesn't love being the center of attention, because no one else is taking ayahuasca on Netflix. He wants this. This is exactly what Aaron Rodgers wants to do to the New York Jets. He wants to say, didn't work out with me, and I'm not taking the blame. I will not be blamed for something that, well, I made a bunch of mistakes during. For instance, throwing game-losing interceptions, not having a single game-winning drive as a member of the Jets. You know, his whole thing on the Packers, well, outside of being the four-time MVP. On top of that, remember, I don't remember what game this was, but there was a game, the season was basically over. They had to win every game out from this point. I was watching it in my apartment, and Aaron Rodgers didn't snap the ball, and the Jets lost. They had like 3 seconds, and I'm screaming at my TV, just yelling Aaron's name over and over again. They had time to snap the ball. It was the end of it. They were down. They had a chance to make one more play. They just didn't. Aaron Rodgers just burnt. What the hell was that clock mismanagement this season? You're 21 years in the NFL. How the hell are you screwing that up?
The clock mismanagement was all over the place. There's definitely blame to go around between Robert Saleh, Aaron Rodgers, maybe even the center as well. But we gotta look past that. There's one way that the New York Jets can almost get revenge on Aaron Rodgers, and that's by coming out this season and having a great year. If the New York Jets have a great season, this year is going to look worse for Aaron Rodgers. And right now we're probably a little bit we're just a little bit annoyed with what he's saying. I'm sure, after like 2 weeks or a month, we're gonna feel a little bit differently. But he shouldn't be coming out and saying these things about a New York Jets organization like ours. He knows how to be more professional than that. Even though, just like you said, he loves being the center of attention, loves coming out and having his name all over the media. But he can be more professional than this, and he knows how to be more professional than this. And he shouldn't have said these things.
I agree, and it's been not exactly, but it's been nearly, what, 2 years since, 2 years since Aaron Rodgers decided, hey, I'm going to go to the Jets. This wasn't the Jets trading for him against his will. This was Aaron Rodgers saying the only team I'll continue my career with is the New York Jets. Why? Probably a few reasons. Because he knew he could take control of them, but also because he wanted to be the center of attention. He wanted to be the guy. He wanted to be the guy who saved the Jets, and he didn't, and now that's part of it, that he failed. He knows he failed. He wants to move the blame onto other people as well. Not that he's the only one to blame. Woody Johnson's been a terrible owner. I mean,
Oh no, he's you're absolutely right that he's trying to blame other people because he always does that. However, he is not the number one guy to blame. He deserves a lot of blame, obviously, because he's a quarterback, but Woody Johnson is the number one guy to blame. Make no mistake.
It is Woody Johnson. It absolutely, at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers should have went out and targeted Woody Johnson, and then Jets fans would have agreed with him too. That's the crazy thing. It's not
that would have been different. But no, when you're coming out and talking about our new guy like this, when all he did was fly you out to have a conversation in person instead of doing it over the phone, like, come on, he didn't deserve that.
And also ask him a genuine question. Rodgers was very vague on if he wanted to play football. What was Glenn supposed to do? Assume?
Well, no, because the answer to that question didn't matter because they were looking for Aaron Rodgers to say no so they could just say, okay, because we are looking to move on. So they would have tried to push him into retirement because if he retires, the cap comes off the books. So
smart. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments down below. Obviously, this was a longer video, but it's a weird day. So let us know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day, and go Jets.